Hi, I'm Mary Newnham. I spent the last few years writing a novel, and then suddenly my dreams came true and I got a book deal. Wild. Now I'm weeks away from my debut getting launched into the world. Am I nervous? A little. So I have persuaded some well-known authors to join me around the virtual water cooler on what feels like the first day of the job, in hope that they can give me some tips and insight into how to author. This is a mini-series, but you can still subscribe. You can also follow my Instagram, MaryNewnhamWrites, for updates on episodes and on the book, Amy Elman Doesn't Feel Sexy. Okay, let's go find an author. Welcome back to How to Author. Today we have the fabulous contemporary romance author, Georgia Stone. Georgia's debut, Friendship Fling, was published in 2025. It sees a slow burn romance between quirky Finn, you know they're hot when they have a name like Finn, and no BS Ava. Her next book will be another funny, steamy treat. It is called The Roommate Rule and it's coming out on the 21st of May, so pre-order that now. In our bubbly conversation, we talk about her route into the book world, from book grammar to self-publishing to signing a book deal. We talk about the role of social media for authors today, and she shares an excellent facepalm moment. Moral of the story, don't look at your reviews. Make sure you follow her vibrant Instagram page, GeorgiaStoneWrites. But before you do, listen to this. Here we are, Georgia Stone on How to Author. Hello, Georgia, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Of course.
So excited to be talking to you, mostly because I love your book, The Friendship Fling. And I just think your personality and vibe all on social media just seems so cool. And as someone who's just going into the game, I was very excited to sort of pick your brains about how you're feeling right now, because it's your first year as a published author.
It's been a wild year.
Does it feel like you're like waking up as like I don't know, like it's just completely different world all of a sudden?
Well, I initially self-published The Friendship Fling under a different title. So I had a little taste of it in February 2024 when I self-published it. So I feel like that was actually, for me at least, a nice way. I got to dip my toes into publishing, and then obviously it like ramped up as I got a book deal after that. Yeah.
I mean, you went the really cool route, going the indie route, but that must have been so odd to like get a book, the same story but new identity, and sort of go out there again with it.
Yeah, I feel like because I was unemployed basically when I self-published. And so I had a lot of time, but also, I don't know if my mental health was great at the time, but so I was like really burnt out through self-publishing. So to then have a team come along and say, we'll repackage this and republish this for you, it was actually a big relief for me. So like it did change title, the cover changed, and then like the insides were tweaked a little bit. But yeah, it was honestly really nice for me to have other people help.
But it's so cool having like both experiences, and I think so you can actually speak on both. You can give advice on both parts, really. So that's really that's so cool. Do you feel now like comfortable by like when people go, "What do you do?" Are you now like, "I'm an author," and feel quite comfortable with that?
Yeah, I honestly, like, anytime anyone asks, I'm happy to say it. And I think it's because I was working in jobs that I didn't really like for like 10 years prior to this. So anytime I told them before, I was like, well, I do this, but it's not a reflection on who I am. Whereas now when I tell people, I'm like, no, this is me. This is what I do. And people usually think it's cool. I do get one, it's always middle-aged men. As soon as I say I'm a romance author, they always go, like Mills and Boone, every time. And I'm just, and I'm like, no, but like, they're still going. It's not exactly what I'm doing, but yeah, I am writing romance.
Yeah. I do find that like people do have like a very, you know, whatever the sort of real, I don't know, kind of mass titles are or whatever. It's like, oh, like Bridget Jones. And I'm like, yeah. I wish. Like,
I'll take those films. I'll take that attention.
I think it is an interesting thing navigating it at the start, but when you do get to say it, it's quite nice.
Yeah, and I think because obviously, like, I spend a lot of time with other authors, so to me, I'm like, this is a very commonplace thing to have written a book. Everyone's written a book. I know so many people have written books, but to people outside of that, they're like, "Whoa, you've written a book!" I kind of forget that it's cool. Well, to other people, they're like, "Wow."
And you're now on your book. You're on your second book. You're in the sort of woods of editing of it. How have you found this experience of writing your second book with the validation of being a published author compared to when you were even in the sort of self-publishing days, the indie publishing days?
Well, I'd written my second book before I got my book deal because I was intending to self-publish that as well. So I was feeling smug that I had written this book. I'd signed that deal and I'd written both books. I was like, I'm sorted. But then when it came to editing it with this team, like, that was much slower this time. It was a much more intensive process that we did a lot more to it compared to the first book. And so that was definitely harder. But it was also kind of nice because my first book, we didn't do that much editing to it because I'd done so much to it to self-publish. I hadn't had like the full editing experience yet. So I'm happy that I got to experience that with this second book, where it was literally from, point zero to wherever we are now. Which is almost done.
Yeah, fingers crossed. When you are on your sort of routine, how do you structure your day at the moment?
So I've always been a night owl. And so having now that I am full-time authoring with this, I now obviously have the flexibility to go to bed when I want and to wake up when I want. And so that works really well for me because I go to bed late, as I always have done. And I don't wake up super late, but later than I would if I was working a 9 to 5. And so sometime in the morning, I will sit down with my laptop and I'll start writing. And I have found that I'm actually most productive when I do little bursts, like writing sprints of, 25 minutes, and then a little break, and then 25 minutes, and then a little break. So I usually do like a 2-hour chunk of that, and then it's probably lunchtime. And then if I do another 2-hour chunk of that, I'm usually semi-productive in that time. But sometimes I just get distracted and who knows what I write.
I think you're right, though. I think your brain can only do so much. So even naturally after 25 minutes, you sort of like, I wonder,
Yeah. I wonder if I've missed anything online.
Yeah, literally. I'm like, what is happening with Blake Lively?
The 25 minutes is actually tragic.
I think that's definitely definitely is the thing of like the sort of self-discipline or the self-motivating and sort of you being your own boss and like, no, leave Blake Lively alone.
I wrote most of the Friendship Fling while I was working full time. So I wrote most of that between the hours of like 8 p.m. and 2 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
While I was also still waking up for the 9 to 5. And now I don't do that as much because I don't need to. Yeah. But yeah, I still definitely,
God.
Yeah.
And like the Friendship Fling is really funny. So at like 11:30 at night, how are you cracking out the jokes?
maybe that's what the magic is. That's when it comes. That's when I'm delusional and hilarious. Yeah.
Because I find really interesting is when people are like, they're looking for maybe a recipe of like how to write a book the best, and then is that the best way of saying it? Anyway, so they're like, what's your routine? But I really do think it's like if once you know yourself and you know the way you work, that seems to be the magic, really.
Yeah, I have friends who wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and they do all their writing then, and it's just not for me.
No. Moving on to your sort of social media, because you got great. So like, I love your Instagram page. It's so cool. It's got such a vibe. I love the fact there's like cartoons of your characters. How much time do you put behind your social media?
I think it depends. Like around release, I put more time into it. Now I'm just kind of letting it chug along until I can start talking about the second book more. But I think it probably stems from the fact that I self-published the book, because as an indie author, you like one of your greatest tools is social media because it's free. And like some people do pay for ads and stuff, whatever. But for most people, posting on social media is the way to get readers. I think that just kind of flowed from that. Like I continued using it, not quite as intensely as I did when I self-published, because now luckily I have a team behind me who like are doing some of that work for me. But I think some things like commissioning character art, that was a recent thing from last year. Some of my friends did it and I was like, let me try it. And then I just didn't stop. So I just consistently commission artists. And then I'm like, I'm supporting artists. It's fine. I'm actually not. I'm not overspending. I'm supporting other artists. And that's actually really helpful, specifically in the romance space. Because people will recognize your characters and they might look at your characters and be like, wow, I'm intrigued by them. I need to read the book. And you can use it on social media as well. And I think I've just like picked up over time how to use it just through talking to friends as well, especially friends who have a lot of success on social media. We just kind of, I don't know, sometimes there'll be like a trend that I hop onto and it's actually really quick. But yes, it's honestly just, I use it when I have the time. I will make stuff, when I can be bothered.
That's a healthy way of doing it. I know, because I feel like some authors feel the pressure of it and they're slightly terrified of it, but you seem quite comfortable. I like the fact you go to your bookstores, you bring the camera along. That's great. You just, so that seems to be like a personality thing as well, that you can sort of put yourself out there and feel more comfortable.
Yeah, I think as well, I think I was just like a social media kid. Like I've always been in online spaces. And so I've always been someone who like posts. And even prior to becoming an author, I was a bookstagrammer. So I literally posted about books on Instagram, and I posted reviews and stuff. And so even like existing in the bookish space online, I was familiar with that already by the time I published my book. So I think that probably also helped.
Yeah. And it's lovely. I think that's the good thing about, the fact books are becoming more Instagrammable, TikTok and all that. Like we've got like a whole thing now of readers that probably it wasn't ever there. So no, it's great. I love it.
Yeah.
It's such like a friendly space.
Yeah. I love Instagram. I think like you have to kind of decide where you want to put your energy. And so for me, I really don't. I mean, I like being on TikTok, but posting on TikTok I find is you have to post quite soullessly, honestly, if you want to see any kind of return. And everyone knows this. Like everyone who posts, I've had friends who like frequently go viral and they're like, no, you just have to just keep posting the same thing over and over. And it is soulless, but like it might get you reads. And that was something where I was just like, I don't know if I want to do that. I'm just going to focus on another area, which is Instagram. And I occasionally post on TikTok, but just nowhere near as much as I could.
Yeah, it's I personally find TikTok quite terrifying. I have uploaded, deleted. Yeah. Now there's like 2 videos there, and I'm like, I don't know what to do about it.
It's also, they do different things as well. Like Instagram, I think is the best for building a community and having your readers follow you, whereas TikTok is more about discoverability, where your video can show up on anyone's For You page anywhere in the world. And then they might find you, but they might not necessarily follow you. They might just read your book and go, okay, moving on to the next one.
You've done some reviews of other books. How do you feel about reviews on your books online?
So because I self-published, I think I got to bypass. I didn't bypass. I experienced it as a self-published author, like the reading of bad reviews and just reading any reviews really. And so since I traditionally published The Friendship Fling, I haven't sought out a single review. Like I haven't gone to Goodreads or Amazon and clicked and read anything. I've obviously been tagged in things on Instagram and stuff, but I, since traditionally publishing, have not once looked for them. I definitely did when I self-published, even though every single person said, don't read your reviews. There comes a point, everyone, I know a couple of people who still check their reviews, but almost everyone at one point they go, no, that's it, I'm done. I can't look at these anymore. It's too much.
It's terrifying. I'm like looking ahead, because I feel like when you're like, you know, when you start writing and you sort of give it to your sort of inner circle, or people are like really rooting for you.
Yeah.
And then when it's out in the world, like these people don't, like
they don't know you.
Like, no.
They don't need to be nice to you.
No. So I feel like my skin is yet not thick enough.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if I'm ever going to even go there.
I think it's like a habit that if you get into, you then have to break. So maybe if you never get into the habit, that will be easier. Just don't look.
Yeah, I started off with, like, when NetGalley came out, I was like, well, this is fun, and you know, it's all nice. And then I was like, I had to be like, no, I've just got to, because especially when you're writing your second book, you already have your inner critic. Yeah. Being like, what the hell are you writing? And you don't need, like, you know, bookworm 832 in your head being like...
Well, especially because people often post opinions as if they're fact. And you'll have one person saying, oh my God, I can't believe they took so long to kiss. Like, that took ages. I was bored. And then you'll have someone else saying, oh my God, I loved that they took so long to kiss. I loved the tension. So they're saying the same thing. So, like, you can't even use it as, like... Unless you've accidentally said or done something like wildly offensive or problematic, really, like, any review, good or bad, honestly, can't really be constructive for you, because, like, people will say the same thing but have different emotions attached to it.
That's a nice way of looking at it, because it is so subjective, isn't it? And like you say, like, as long as you haven't, said something that can be interpreted in a bad way or whatever, which is always the fear, but you just sort of, But,
and you would like to hope that, like, people around you would have noticed that before you published the book, if you had said or done something awful. I'm sure it happens.
Yeah, it must. I think it is that it's going out into the world and sort of not being able to take it back, I guess. I mean, obviously my book's coming out at the end of January 22nd. And yeah, it just feels a bit like...
Yeah. Now you're like, oh, that's it.
It's already.
I even had, because I self-published it, and then we did do, like, a couple of small tweaks, I obviously could have used that opportunity to just do a massive overhaul. I could have been like, in the year since I finished it, I could do all of this stuff. But, I mean, I didn't. I was just like, this book is done. I need to send it away.
Yeah. By the time you were at the end of Friendship, were you ready? Were you ready to, like, go back? Because obviously you've already written book 2. Were you like, oh, I want to get into book 2 now?
Yeah. But also I have been talking about the Friendship Fling in its self-published form. It started in summer 2022. And it was when I was on Bookstagram as well. So I was even talking about it on Bookstagram. I was posting on my close friend's story. So I've been talking about that book since summer 2022. And so now I'm like, it's been a long time. Let's move on now. I love that book. But we have to talk about something else.
Yeah. Like, go away, Finn. I'm so sick.
Yeah. Like, you can have a rest now. So can I.
Yeah. Is it what you expected? Like, the way it's been received and the kind of readership you have, the way, like, your cover and everything? Is it kind of what you had in mind?
I think so. I think, like, publishing as a concept, maybe, or, like, how everything happens was maybe less of what I expected, but I don't actually know what I expected, to be honest, because I didn't expect to even get a book deal from that. I just self-published that, and through a very weird coincidence, I got an agent and then got a book deal from it.
So cool.
Yeah, like, my expectations for it when I self-published were to publish it. Like, that was the expectation. I wanted to publish it, and then my goal was to have a stranger read it. And so I achieved those things. And then, as I said, I got a taste of how people were going to receive it when I self-published. It wasn't like a massive viral hit or anything, but, like, a few people did read it. And then when it was traditionally published, I kind of just saw that, I guess, on just a larger scale. And Yeah.
I mean, you were in America. You were doing like a book tour around America this year, weren't you?
Well, I mean, one that I made. Yeah. I emailed my editor asking if any bookshops if she knew which bookshops had ordered a copy in. And she sent me a big list of people who'd ordered. And so in the 4 locations I visited, I just kind of, whenever we were near one of those bookshops, I'd be like, I was with my 2 friends and I'd be like, sorry guys, we just need to go in here just to check.
That's
but
so
that actually,
cool.
Yeah, it was. But that actually, I would say, is one thing I didn't expect was, well, I kind of thought when I got my deal that like every single door was going to be open. And like every opportunity I was like, wow, this is mine for the taking. Let's go. One thing I didn't then expect was that like in the US, for instance, you might get stocked in Barnes and Noble, like the equivalent of the Waterstones. And mine isn't really stocked in Barnes and Noble. And so I was like, oh, I thought that was just kind of a given. So like that was something that was unexpected for me. But then, you know, a bunch of indie bookshops ordered it in. So most of my sales came through indies, which is actually really nice.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's like, it has been cool.
Yeah, I do. I think that is, like you say, I think that is a big sort of a surprise where you are like, oh, okay, that's like great. The world is covered. You know? Yeah, it's going to be in the window. Like, and there's a lot of, and like you say, like you did your own tour around America, and I think even with like book launches as well, I'm sort of figuring out it's not like Sex and the City. Like, it's a lot of it comes a lot from you, and you have to be like proactive, and you know, which is, you know, I guess with these big companies, they've got so many of us.
It makes sense.
Are you still loving it?
Yeah, and I mean, I obviously won't name names, but I've had like friends who've had experiences where they've felt, I don't know, neglected by their publisher or whatever. Whereas I genuinely feel like I've had a good debut experience. Like, obviously, I was not a Sunday Times bestseller. I didn't get a film deal. Like, I wasn't like a runaway success in that way. But like, generally speaking, I feel like I've had a good experience, and I have good teams around me in the UK and the US. So yeah, I've had fun with it.
I always think like, yeah, it's like the start of a career anyway. So like,
it has to build.
It builds, and yeah. And I think as long as you're like enjoying it, and you know, that's the main thing. So I write a quack which evolves around stories about facepalm moments, whether that's like dating or traveling or whatever. I was wondering if you had a facepalm moment so far, as in your author career.
I don't know. I think honestly, I don't even know if it would be a facepalm, but like just wait, no, something did come to me. One time I did look at my reviews, and it was on a new app that I hadn't been on before, and I didn't think my book would be on there. So I looked it up and I saw it was, and I was like, oh my God, it's on there. And I just happened to click on the star rating. And now I know that reviews are subjective. So like, a 4-star to someone might be like amazing, or it might just be like fine, or like a 3-star might be fine to one person, but it might be terrible to another. But I clicked on this review or on the stars, and on the top review was a 3-star review, but it was from someone I know in real life and have known for like 10 years. And then I was like, that's why you don't check your reviews, Georgia, because someone you know will give you 3 stars.
And they put their name to it?
I knew it was them because I guess they just, well, I mean, I shouldn't have been looking, should I? I'm not supposed to, but I saw them. It wasn't even like they didn't read romance either, like, and this was just like an abnormality for them. I was like, oh no, you are reading romance, you're reading this genre. I've never addressed it with them.
Do you ever like see them like in a social setting? And
no, I actually haven't seen them in a while.
Okay,
but
that's yeah.
I have this thing. I'm like, even if I hate one of my friends' books, I don't rate things publicly anymore. But I would rate it 5 stars regardless, because I'm like, you're my friend. My like honesty is not worth more than our friendship. So I'm like, I'm just giving everyone 5 stars if I know you. Like 5 stars for you. Yeah.
Have you had that opportunity yet where your publishers or whoever has given you a book to review of another author?
To like blurb?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have had a few, and some of them came. I sort of accepted loads of them all at once, and then I realised I needed to stop, so I've like stopped doing it for the rest of this year. I'll return next year, I'm sure. But yeah, a lot of them I think were friends. And a lot of them probably were also debuts, so we all kind of asked each other, like, can you read my book, please?
Yeah. That's a nice way of doing it.
Yeah. That's just reminded me, I finished a book the other day that I need to give a blurb for. Yeah, I like doing it because I like reading books early. And as a bookstagrammer, I got to read them early, so that's like a fun thing.
Yeah.
Coming up with the right like little review. Oh. Weird amount of pressure on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
I blurbed my friend Hannah's book. It comes out in February. It's called Love and Other Brain Experiments, and it's a romance between 2 scientists. And so it's like a STEM romance. And I felt so... I don't think she's actually revealed the blurb yet, but I'm sure she will. But the adjectives I used, like, they started with STEM. So, and I was like, this is it. This is the blurb. I can't even remember what the adjectives were, but I was like, wow, you smashed that. I blurbed a friend's like cowboy romance, and I said something like, it hit the bullseye, and I was like, yeah, another great one. Maybe this is why I think so long. I could just be like, this is great. But I'm like, no, I must theme it.
I love that. But that's so cool. Like, I think, like you say, like you accepted them all at the start because it's such a cool thing.
So I had like a list of massive goals. And when I realised they weren't really super achievable, I was like, let me think of smaller goals. And one of them was to blurb another book for an author, or, and like that one I crossed off pretty quickly. So I was like, hey, this is nice.
Are you a goal, like, do you like every year, are you like, this is my goal?
And mostly I just have a list that I just add to. List. Yeah.
Filled with emojis. Like. Yeah. Yeah.
Some of them are really small, like super minor things, but they're good because it means I can cross them off quickly.
Yeah. Well, I think the crossing off is the thing that, it keeps the day going, it keeps the life going.
It's like when you write a to-do list and you write something like, have a cup of tea, and you're like, done. Yeah. Cross that off.
I won't keep you much longer because I know you're very busy. So I have one final question for you. Do you have a survival tip for me as a new author going in, as someone who's now in the depths of it?
I think, honestly, something that has really helped me is just having other authors as friends. Mostly people who are in a similar boat to you, but then also people who are maybe further behind in the process or further ahead. But I feel like most of my friends now are in a similar boat where we got our deals around the same time. And a lot of them also were indie authors beforehand and now are traditionally published. So like building a community is really helpful, just because, it's not a super transparent industry. And so just having people around you who you can ask questions and say like, is this normal? Did this happen for you? And sometimes they'll be like, it is normal. Is it right? No, but it is normal. And just having that, I think, is really helpful. Yeah. It's interesting. You're not the first author to give that advice, and it does seem, because it is very just you and your characters, and then you're dealing with the big guys. Yeah. So I can imagine that would be, super helpful. Yeah, it is. I'm like, get some friends.
But no, that's amazing. Thank you so much for speaking to me today. And hopefully I'll see you meet you in person one day.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Right.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. See ya. Bye.
Bye.